Welcome to the Fiscal Finesse Flash, where we will share insights into personal and business finance for today's economical climate and finesse your finances. And now your host, Jenna Finesse Houston.
I didn't see it.
No, it's all good.
Okay.
All right, so welcome to the Fiscal Finesse Flash. We have here today with us, awesome, we have Avion Johnson of Credit Inventors. And Credit Reinventors. And we also have Ahmad Baran, and he's representing the Somali community, right? And so today we're talking about business credit. And so we're going to go deep with Avion, and then we'll have some questions and some comments from Baran as well. Oh, I keep calling you Baran. Ahmad.
Yeah,
calling you by your last name.
Yeah.
Ahmad.
First name.
Baran's your first name?
Yes. So
Ahmad is your last name?
Last name, yes.
Thanks for correcting me. Baran.
Yes.
All right, so thank you all for tuning in. So we have Avion. So last week I went to Avion's workshop he had with Kamba, and it was all about building business credit and separating your business credit from your personal credit. And sometimes when you're a business owner, you may or may not have the credit that you need to get where you want to be in life and to grow your business. And so oftentimes, folks will come to me and they want to build up their personal credit or get to a place where they can get loans, but it's going to also be attached to your personal credit. Right. So Avion and his team has created a system that will help you build your business credit outside of your personal credit. So I want to thank you for coming, Avion.
Thank you for having me.
You're quite welcome.
Appreciate it.
And so if you could just introduce yourself, introduce your company, and then we'll dig right in.
So I'm Avion Johnson, Credit Reinventors, and our background is about 4 or 5 of us. We have a financial background. So we were mortgage brokers, bankers, loan officers, and we got into kind of the credit world by just helping people get into homes, helping people with bad credit, fix their credit, things like that. We got to a point where people were asking us about business credit. They were asking, do you guys know anything about business credit? This personal credit is cool, but what about my business? So we kept getting the question. So we went out and we did our due diligence, and we found answers and got results. And what we found is just amazing. Now, let me go back. Having business credit isn't new.
Right.
That's obviously, we're not making up anything new. What we've done is streamline the process for someone to get business credit a lot faster than just trying to figure it out on your own.
Right.
The importance of business credit, as we're all entrepreneurs, is just having the ability to distance yourself personally from your business. Mm-hmm. And when we start businesses, a lot of times we get into a position where we're leaning on our personal credit, to start our business,
mm-hmm.
whether it's using credit cards or taking loans, because we know that business is going to do good. So we're willing to take the risk personally.
Yeah.
And when we take that risk, what we're doing is we're limiting ourselves and putting our family and our household in jeopardy.
Yeah. Which is very high risk.
Right. We're taking away opportunities.
Charmaine gonna be like, listen here, this business don't work. Guess what? They ain't come taking our house.
You know what? It hit me. It hit me because Charmaine, because you brought it up. So I started my business and I was like, well, babe, I'm just going to use the credit card to do such and such and such. And she was like, what?
Yeah.
She was
where
like,
they do
I don't want you using no credit card for anything regarding that business.
She's like, where they do that at? Not in this, this household.
And at first I took it, I'm like, what do you mean? My business is going to be sweet. Like,
right.
It's me, you know.
Right. Support me,
Right,
baby.
what are you doing? So, but after I took a step back and I realized, I was like, she's absolutely right. Yeah. I don't want to be putting my family at risk for my business. We all plan for our businesses.
You're absolutely right.
This is not my first business, and it's not because my other businesses I've sold and, I'm living the lavish life because of success. I went through trials and tribulation with different businesses, and luckily I haven't had to take on any personal financial burden from those businesses. But That's what happens a lot of times. I talk to a lot of people even dealing with their personal credit who are in situations right now personally because their business went the wrong way.
Absolutely.
And now they have collections and debt from their business that they're not even doing anything.
And thinking about that, you know, oftentimes when we go and we start planning for our business, we plan things like our legal structure, right? So a lot of folks will go maybe sole proprietorship, LLC, S corp, C corp, whatever they choose. And most times, if you research and do the history, most people choose LLC because it has limited liability to your personal assets. So if you're going to go as far as to choose that legal structure and also get additional insurance to protect your assets, you should also go as far as to understand what your business credit should be doing or how you can build your business credit.
Absolutely.
So if you have questions, please go ahead and ask your questions because we'll get to them shortly. I do want to acknowledge the folks that are on, and I appreciate y'all logging on. So we have Lakina, hey girl, Miss Teresa, Linda, Tijuana, Starla, Alonzo, and Glenda. Thank you all for listening. And we will be answering your questions. If you have questions about business credit, please go ahead and type those in, and we'll answer those as we go along. Okay? So, but getting back to this. So one of the questions that I had was, now, I've had my business since 2009, and I know when I first started, there was a lady that was going around building business credit, and she gave me some few pointers, which was very good, and most of it was around, identifying your DUNS number, making sure you had your EIN, making sure that you use that in lieu of your social security number. Now, I know that the rules have changed a whole bunch since 2009, and they're constantly changing, just like personal credit. All the different laws and rules and regulations around credit, it changes so often. That's why it's so important to have someone like you that's abreast of the changes that can give folks information. So, in 2017, is it best to use your EIN number or your DUNS number when you're applying for business credit?
You're listening to the Fiscal Finesse Flash with your host, Jenna Finesse Houston.
First, that's a good question. And let me kind of clarify the two. So your EIN number is basically your social security number for your business.
Yes.
So I told somebody yesterday, when we're born, we get one social security number, but you got the opportunity to have a whole bunch of EIN numbers. And with each EIN number, it's its own entity. So that is what you want to use when you're applying to things. If you're applying for stuff for your business, you want to use your EIN number. Your DUNS number is something that Dun & Bradstreet is solely to Dun & Bradstreet. So they have generated a number basically to kind of trace. It's almost like an account number with Dun & Bradstreet more than it is something that you can use as far as if you go to a merchant, if you go to Best Buy, you don't want to put your DUNS number in there. It's not going to mean anything to them. You want to use your EIN number, and that'll translate into a Dun & Bradstreet opportunity with Best Buy or whoever the vendor is.
So your Paydex score comes from your DUNS number or your EIN number? Your
Paydex score is a direct correlation with Dun & Bradstreet. So let me back up again. So there's three major business credit bureaus. Dun & Bradstreet is the one that we're all familiar with. You hear it, you just relate Dun & Bradstreet to business credit.
Yes.
There's also Business Equifax. There's also Business Experian,
which are both different from your regular Experian and Equifax. They're Business Equifax and Business Experian.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So all three of them have lenders, vendors, merchants, they can use any of those. A lot of people are using Business Equifax, Business Experience, not just Dun & Bradstreet.
Right.
So it's more than just Dun & Bradstreet when it comes to building your business credit. You want to be kind of mindful of there are other two bureaus, and you don't know, well, if you use our program, you'll know, but a lot of times you don't know which bureau these lenders are going to use and who they're going to be judging you on. But there's three out there.
Okay. And so are those scores, I understand that the Paydex score with Dun & Bradstreet goes from 0 to 100. The Equifax business and Experian business, do they go 0 to 100 as well?
Yeah.
So, and then they could be different just like your regular personal scores with TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Although there's several different credit agencies, Those are the top three.
Right.
So with these are the top three, and it goes from 0 to 100.
Yeah.
Okay. And so tell me more about your what was that thing you called it? What was those 20 points or 10 points?
Oh, the credibility?
Credibility standards. Credibility points.
So the first step to any business, being a business, as far as when you're looking for funding or opportunities to get credit and other opportunities just to leverage revenue for your business, you want to make sure your business is credible. If your business isn't credible, it's just like if somebody came and asked you to borrow money.
You're listening to the Fiscal Finesse Flash with your host, Jenna Finesse Houston.
They might be a little more credible if they have a suit. They might if they have sharp shoes. If they, as opposed to a guy who looks like he's been living homeless for 30 days, he asks you to borrow money. You like, I don't know how credible you are. Just from the look. So it's the same way with the business. You want your business to look credible. You want it to be credible. Some of the things that we talk about when we talk about credibility. Go from your business name. Be careful about the name that you choose because it'll follow you. The address that you use for the business, you want to make sure you have the right addresses or using the right address. You don't want to use P.O. boxes. You can actually build business credit using a home address if you're a home-based business. However, when you're trying to get large amounts of money, more funding, you probably want to switch to a type of incubator type office like a Regis or something like that. You want to make sure you have your EIN number. You want all your addresses. If you have licensing for your businesses, you want all of your information matching. So your Secretary of State filing, your addresses for your licenses, your EIN, the address that's tied to your EIN. You want everything to match. You don't want somebody to look up your company and see that you have an address on South Main Street and you got an address in Gahanna.
I'm glad you said that because after I took your class, I looked up myself on 411, my business on 411, and it's using an old address, and I was so mad at myself. Like, I have not, all right. So I have not changed it on there. So that's one thing that I definitely, as soon as I left your class, I was like, how am I listed?
And it's not that it's the, it doesn't necessarily make or break you at any one point, but you never know when it's going to matter.
That's true.
You never know when it's going to matter or who it's going to matter with. You might be able to get, because somebody will say, well, I was able to get business credit and I got 3 different addresses out there. Well, that's not, I'm not saying that you won't be able to get credit, but when you try and get credit from that one vendor, that's going to take it into account. Exactly.
You want consistency. And you also want to make sure that when they're looking up your business, they're not confused as if there might be another financial comfort out there. So if there is, they want to make sure that they're giving it to the correct entity. So I totally understand that.
And a lot of times it's very important because, one, anybody can check your business credit. Like I don't have to have, it's not like personal credit where you go apply for a loan and
you have to have permission.
Right. You got to get your social, birth date, address, and permission. Anybody can check your business credit. You can go online right now and pay for somebody's business credit, anybody's business credit. As long as you know their business name and the state that they reside in, you can pull their business credit.
Interesting.
So with that being said, you want to make sure your addresses are correct because when you start applying for things with different vendors, and as they report to the credit bureaus, you don't want them reporting to a different address because they're going to assume that's a different business.
That's true.
So you want all of your accounts to go to the same place so you can get the most out of what you're doing as far as trying to build the credit.
So tell us, Avion, what's the best way to start building business credit? Like the easiest, the quickest, maybe like the first step? What
I would do if I was starting from scratch is... first, you just got to really think about a name. You don't want to kind of box yourself in. There are some industries that are red flagged as far as being able to get funding, like major funding. And let me go back. So you want to build business credit to leverage your revenue and to grow your business. And at some point, the prayer is your business grows so much where you're looking for major dollars. Like, I can't do too much with this $15,000 credit card anymore. I need and that's the stepping stone. You want to get to that point. So what I would do is, make sure you're in a good industry. Well, not a good industry, but make sure your industry isn't necessarily blacklisted. So choose your name well. When you set up your address, when you set up your business name, you want to make sure, not your business name. When you set up your Secretary of State filing, you want your address to be, you want a good address. You want to use, if you're using your home address, so set up your Secretary of State stuff. Once you get your Secretary of State documents, I would go and get your EIN number. That's the first next thing you can get. After you get your EIN number, I would go get a business bank account immediately. After you get your bank account, I would order your Dun & Bradstreet number. Those are the immediate things you can do that basically, the DUNS number is free, the bank account is free, or most business banking. You should be able to get some, you can find business banking for free, I'll put it like that.
The EIN is free.
The EIN is free.
Secretary of State is only $99 now.
It's $99. So you can basically get started with $99 and be on a good.
In a little bit of time.
Yeah, a little bit.
Now,
of time.
once you have all 5 of those things, what should they do? What's the next step in order to build business credit?
The next step is you want to make sure you have a presence. So you want to get yourself a website. You want to have email address. You don't want to use gmail.com. You don't want to use Avion at Gmail for your business. You want Avion at creditreinventors.com. You want at yourbusinessname.com for your business. So you want to get your website set up. You want an email that is related to your business. You want to get a phone number and fax number. Phone number is important because you want to be able to have a phone number that can be listed with National 411. When I say that, you can hit 411 on a computer. You need to be able to call your area code 555-1212 as for your business, and they give you the phone number and the address. So that's when I'm saying National 411. That's the 401 that you need to have your business registered, your business phone number registered with. And I say that because a lot of lenders, that's one of the qualifying factors that they look for. They'll actually call and verify that your number does exist on National 411 while you're applying for the loan. So it's important to have that number. If you need a number, you can get it at what's the one I use?
I remember
Ring Central.
Ring
Central is a good resource to get a phone number that can be listed with National 411. So after you have those 5 things, you get your website, you get a phone number, fax number. You want to have a fax number because sometimes you'll have to fax applications. Again, it's another way for your business to look credible. Phone number, fax number. You got the 5 things that initially set up your business. The website can be very cheap. It doesn't have to be a $5,000 website. You can get a template with a domain name and put in your little specific stuff. That's fine.
Okay. We have some questions, and thank you so much, Teresa, for asking questions. Let me go back to the top and make sure I get all of them. So the first question, Teresa Johnson of Tier Bear. So she has a company, and she deals with abuse, all types of abuse, and so she has a for-profit and a nonprofit. Okay. So her question is, are you talking about for-profit or nonprofit or both?
Both. Business credit can be built for both for-profit and nonprofit companies.
Okay.
That's for sure.
So
can funding. Funding, you can get funding for a nonprofit just like a for-profit.
Okay. So I hope that answers your question, Ms. Teresa. She has one more credit. She says, what do you do if there are false reports on your business credit?
That's a very good question. You can dispute, just like you do with personal credit, you can dispute things that may be incorrect on your business credit.
Have you seen success in disputes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We have seen being successful with disputing business credit. It's even less, because on the business side, when you get in commercial stuff, you don't have all the red tape that you do with personal finances, consumer finances.
Right.
So you don't have the red tape even with the credit industry as far as they have to respond within 30 days and all this. Business credit is pretty cut and dry. You dispute it, and a lot of times, especially if it's not valid,
right,
it can go away.
Can you hand me that? Because it looks like we have some questions over there.
On here?
Yep. Hello. Hey, Timmy, I hope you're on now. Let me see. Stop doing Avion. Introduce themselves.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So maybe this one is having problems. I hope this one isn't. Were you able to hear us, Miss Teresa? Everything is good. It sounds like this one is having some issues. And so we will. I'm not going to cut it off because there's so many people on here. Do you have any questions, Baran?
No.
You sure?
No. And the one thing I want to ask him, when you look at, there's a large new immigrants in the city, in the state, who pretty much dealing with a lot of lending, or finding very hardship to get start point A, B. How do you get help those who really want to have businesses, but they don't know how to navigate on a system? Basically dealing with the hardships, because a lot of times they have a value might be, but they don't know how to get past point B.
Right. I mean, we can definitely help people navigate on how to start businesses. I mean, that's what we've been doing. Building a credit is an aspect of the business, obviously, but actually starting a business and for it to be profitable and viable are services that we offer as well. But it's a process. But I think the opportunity is great especially for immigrants, because a lot of times you don't have, you don't have the personal credit coming over here to lean on even. You don't even have that. So, and that's what a lot of people do. A lot of people have good personal credit, so they lean on that to use as personal guarantors for their business.
Starting out.
Right. And that way it's not, and a personal guarantor is you're signing, personally, you're personally guaranteeing the loan, but it's not going to be reported to your personal credit report. It's going to be in the business's name, but if you would default on the loan, then they could come after you personally. Yeah. So you're personally guaranteeing the loan. So with immigrants, a lot of times you don't even have the credit personally to do that. So it's even more conductive, I think, for someone who's just starting out to have or be able to use their EIN number, because you can build it a lot faster than you can your personal credit.
That's good to know.
That's good to know.
Yeah, and we have one question here. A lot of folks are chiming in, so thank you all very much. Laquita, who is my cousin, she has a question. Her question is it harder to get credit using a home address, or is it best to use a virtual office to increase your chances?
Now, let's go back, because credit and loans are two different things, right?
Okay.
So a credit card is like my Visa, my MasterCard, my Macy's, that's a credit card. That's credit. A loan is, I go to Huntington and I'm like, I want to borrow $20,000 personal.
Right.
That's a loan. Okay, so credit and loan, two different things. So credit, on the credit side, you can absolutely build business credit using your home address. You can absolutely do it.
You can build. So his answer is you can definitely build credit using your home address. And now, as far as getting a loan,
that's not to say that you won't get a loan with your business with your home address. However, I mean, just think about it. If you're asking somebody for $100,000 loan for your business, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm at home," you know what I mean?
You haven't grown big enough to go outside of the home.
So you, at that point, once you get to a certain, I mean, you shouldn't really want to use your home address. It's too many other options out here.
That's true.
But starting out, if you're on a budget and you just kind of want to build until I get to a point, and then I'll, get an address. I'll go to Regis, or I'll go to somebody and get an address that I can use. That's a brick and mortar address that I can use. That's a verifiable address. Then do it that way. But
and like you said initially, those points that he gave you all were credibility points. So those are just saying that I am now a credible business. It's not saying that you're doing a certain amount of business. It's just saying, you know what? I am now a credible business because I've dotted my I's and crossed my T's, and I've done these things to say I'm not just, the T-shirt guy. Right. This is not just a hobby for me. Because there's so many times when we are doing business out of our home, we're in competition with the other folks that are doing the same thing that are not, really legitimizing their business. So those credibility points are really just you legitimizing your business and letting a lender, a traditional lender, or any type of lender say that, okay, this is a real business. business. This is not going to fly by night. This is not going to close tomorrow, and I'm not going to get my money back. So the more of those credibility points, which I believe you have 10 or 20.
It's 10.
The more of those 10 credibility points that you actually have, it just shows that you are not as risky as the average business. And so I think that is the point that, Avion was making. So thank you for your question. I hope we answered that. I have somebody on here that says, how can I get a business credit card? Have you been listening, sir? Did you just log on, Derek? Huh? No, just kidding. So, yes, you can get a business credit card.
Let me ask you, well, Derek, let's assume, we're going to assume that your business is credible. Because if your business isn't credible, then the likelihood of you being able to get a business credit card is slim. However, if your business is credible, then I can give you a couple starter accounts just off the top of my head right now. So be writing them down or listen to this.
Now
later,
this is the juice right here. He about to give you the juice
or whatever. So you can go to what's one? I like Quill.
You're listening to the Fiscal Finesse Flash with your host, Jenna Finesse Houston.
QUILL, Quill.com is a good starter account for businesses. Again, you want to be a credible business. They may not approve you initially for a net term account, but if you build the relationship with them over a course of 3 months, then you should be able to build a net term account. And when I say net term, that means you order something today from Quill, they send it to you, and you pay them within 30 days.
Yes. So what that means is that's actually credit, basically. And it's just saying, and I'm just breaking it down a little further because some folks may or may not understand. Right. So what that's saying is you go to Quill, and Quill is good for having office supplies,
They got basically headphones. They're anything. Like Walmart.
They're like a Walmart, pretty much. So you could go on there, you can order some things. Don't go crazy now, because you're still gonna have to pay these bills, okay? So go on Quill, order a few items, and then get that credit account where you pay it back a net 30 terms, meaning you don't have to pay it back until 30 days after you receive it. And so that is a vendor account. And it's actually business credit. And it's one of the best ways to establish business credit, because then they start to report to the 3 credit bureaus, which is, again, Experian Business, Equifax Business, and Dun & Bradstreet. And so when you establish those vendor accounts, they report to those 3 credit bureaus, which in turn builds your business credit. Now, you said something in your class last week about the difference between business credit and personal credit, as far as it's not going to hurt you to have more accounts. Sometimes in personal credit, it's hurtful to get a lot of accounts initially, because that new business credit new personal credit, I keep using those terms interchangeably, but that new personal credit is worth 10% of your score. Right. And you were saying that with business credit, that is not actually in effect.
Right, especially the utilization rate. Business Experian will give you a slight. What they'll do is basically they'll be cautionary with your score. Your score will still be high. You can get a bunch of accounts, relatively quickly. Right. You'll still have a high score. You still will get approved for more accounts, but it'll be cautionary. Like, you won't have the prime score because you're obtaining it so fast that they're even surprised, like, how is this person doing this? Mm-hmm. So you'll have like a cautionary, they might nick you a couple points, but you'll still have a fantastic business credit score. The other thing with business credit is you don't have to worry about the utilization rates that you do
with personal credit. Yeah.
So if you have a $5,000 credit card, then you can access that $5,000 and not worry about your credit score plunging, because now you're at the 100% utilization rate.
I'm glad you brought that up. So with personal credit, you want to absolutely be aware that your utilization rates are very, very super duper importante, right? I'm speaking Spanish. No, it's very important. So you don't want to ever go over 30% on a card that you have. So if you have a $5,000 credit card, you don't want to go over $1,500 on that credit card, because you want your utilization to be low. And that's Avion stated, when it comes to business credit, you don't have to worry about those utilization rates as you would with personal credit. So that's even more benefit to having business credit, because you don't have to stay below those rates where you do when you have I keep saying business and personal when I'm meaning one or the other, but y'all get what I'm saying. If y'all have questions, ask your questions. Okay, I see some more questions on here, so let me go back and look it up. Did we answer your question, Derek? And Teresa says, do I have to have money to get money? I'll answer that question. Yes. No. Teresa, you got to invest in your business, because guess what? If you don't invest in your business, no one else will. Not saying that you got to have money to build credit, but you do have to have money to get money. It's a principle, right? But you don't have to have money to get credit or build credit. So I hope I answered your question with that. Explain. What do you mean by credible? Oh, okay, I understand. Okay, good. I'm glad you understand, girl. Does his class cost? Yes, his class costs. Ain't that free? So, Avion and I are building a class for March 25th, where we're going to discuss business credit and personal credit. It's going to be a 2-hour class. It's going to be, hit it and quit it. And it's really just going to be an introduction to business credit and personal credit, and getting you where you might want to go a little further, and then we'll push you a little further by, asking for some more money. Let me see if there's any other questions out here before we log off. Okay, so Timmy wants to know, so is it better to pay back before the 30 days for the net 30 accounts? That's a great question, Timmy.
That is a great question, and yes, it is. Like, it's, how personal credit it doesn't matter as much as long as you're within that 30-day window. Like, you're not getting a huge point burst boost from paying, 15 days ahead or anything like that. Business credit, you will get a boost. Like, that's how you can get a perfect business credit score, is by paying those accounts early. You can have like a 100 paydex score, or 98 paydex score, because you paid accounts early.
That's good stuff.
So yes, that's a good question, and yes, that's what you want to do. Once you get that invoice, or you get an opportunity to pay it, then pay it. And you'll be surprised how many businesses just don't pay their invoices within the time period. I mean, and it's not like personal credit where, you got collectors calling you, like it'll go 60 days, 90 days, and
they're not going to call you.
Yeah, it's just reported. Like, it's just dinging. Like, you're not going to be able to get more money from anybody.
Right.
It's just dinging you, but it's just not as, the collection approach isn't as aggressive.
Yeah, they're not going to hold you accountable. They feel like if you're a credible business, you should be paying your bills on time. And they're not going to call you and ask you questions about paying your bill. They're expecting to get it back. And oftentimes they don't have collections departments. They have accounting departments. So their accounting department is responsible for sending the bills out. They're not going to call and do a collection activity, because that's taken away from their accounting functions, which are accounts receivable and accounts payable. Right. And that's all they do. So I thank you all for listening. We have time for one more question. Do you think it's important to have a business plan when asking for credit from a bank? Oh my goodness. Tommy Tucker. Yes. Yes. You definitely have to have a business plan when you're asking for credit from a bank.
Yes.
And that's your traditional lender. But again, we're not always talking about the traditional lenders. We're talking about the ones that's in between there to get to the traditional lender. But when you get to the traditional lender, they absolutely want to see a business plan. They want to see that you have business acumen. They want to understand that when you receive that money, you know what you're going to do with it, that you have some projections, that you likely have historical data to show that you've been responsible, with the money that you've been getting. Just asking. Well, I'm just telling you. No, I'm just telling you. So, yeah, Tommy, oh, you still making them brownies? I love it. Why don't you bring me some, and we can talk about your business plan? How about that? Gabe want to know where you get that haircut.
That's crazy. Airport barbers, man. Stelter and James, right there. I mean, Stelter in the airport, right there.
Go get your hair cut at the airport barbers. Look, we gave you a shout out, airport barbers.
Airport barbers.
So no, we appreciate y'all tuning in today. This has been your Fiscal Finesse Flash. We do this every single week. Avion, can you give them some information on how they can contact you?
Yeah, you can. We just redid our website, so go visit that, please. It's www.credit creditReinventors.com. That's credit, CREDIT, REIV as in Victor, ENTORS.com. CreditReinventors.com. We got a Facebook page. Like us on Facebook. I'm going to, Jennifer Ness just kind of broke me out the box. So I'm going to be doing some more live, like instructional and just informational stuff. You definitely want to like our page to find out when that's going to happen. I'm thinking I'm going to do something once a week, just kind of give you, 20 minutes of just good information about business credit and stuff. We're also going to do some webinars, and we'll have a bunch of stuff coming down the pipe. So if you like our business page, Credit Reinventors is the website, and you can call me. My number directly is 614-598-4406. You can call me directly. We can schedule an appointment if you want to talk in detail, however you want to do it.
Awesome. So reach out to Avion. He's your man for the business credit. Get it boosted. You know what I'm saying? And separate that business credit from your personal credit. If you need help with your personal credit, please reach out to me. You all know my telephone number. And if you don't, it's 614-595-0784. And I will put that information in the comments section. Look forward to hearing from you all next week. And we really appreciate it. Have a super duper awesome day.
Thanks, guys.
That was a lot of good information. Yeah.
That was good. Good. I'm glad it was some value added.
Yes.
When we get a chance to do the presentation the 24th, it'll really be.
Is it the 24th or 25th?
25th. I said
25th.
Yeah,
because you corrected me earlier, because I was thinking it was Friday the 24th, but it'll be the 25th. Yeah.
That'll be.
And we're super interested in, getting connected with the Somali community and making sure that they have the resources they need. Because as we stated during lunch, it's sometimes about access. It's not all the time about, what you know, who you know. It's about what can we access it? Is it available to us? And if we don't know, we know, then it's not available.
You're right.
This
is the most difficulties, people of color struggle is access information.
Yeah.
There's people out there know how, but they don't know the access.
Right.
The problem is they're holding them. They have money, they have resources, but the problem is they don't know how to, the special thing in our communities, a lot of time, business they do, they never get lending in a bank, in a city, in a state, no one. It's about trust that people put together money they share.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like lending each other, like a trust.
Exactly.
Right.
Money that
A
we
big
put,
pot, and then everybody.
I save 3,000. You save 3,000.
Yeah.
We call what we use. It's kind of like it's a call sharaka. Basically, it's like a sharing. Every month, 5 of us, we play $500 every month. So this month he's getting first month. Next month you get it. But we have to commit it.
It's like the third time I've heard somebody say that.
Yeah.
Within 2 weeks.
So lending.
Yeah.
This is how
just that group sharing.
Yeah.
Where everybody comes.
Oh, that's a nice voice. I love that. Hit post. Yeah.
Okay.
It is not like you have access. You go to the bank, give it to you because, like I said. You don't have a banking business. You don't have a credit lending business. You don't have
a relationship.
You don't have that stuff. Bank love this immigrant to open checking account.
That's
They never. That's all they want. They get in that percentage of opening a checking account or whatever it is. That's all they focus. And if you look at all those banks surrounding us, they're not there to lend it us or invest in us. It's about checking account opening.
That's all it is.
That's all
those deposit accounts make them money.
Yeah, that's
everything
all
else takes away from their money.
Yeah, and then putting us penalties when that dollar difference.
Oh my goodness! Did you hear my?
36,
Did you hear my speak about the predatory lending? The 300,000. That's $1 billion industry on just the overdraft protection.
You see, that's what they do. This is how they tag in this immigrants community and the African Americans, people of color. That's how they tapping their money. Because what happened, they say, look, we're not going to invest in these people. All we're going to do is give a checking account, basically. And then I know they're going to struggle. They're going to have, maybe you're going to pay your bills 25 days, and you don't know you're going to, we know how to spend.
Yeah.
But we don't think about how to save it and use it. Can I go and look at my account? So they're hitting us left and right and making money.
They're making money.
So we have to educate ourselves.
Yes. And that's the whole point in this.
The whole point. And then rely on these banks coming to our neighborhood and say, look, you're not doing what you're supposed to do.
There you go.
And then make sure that you guys are opening you check, you open your doors. How do people get lending and given access? Because believe me, what we do a lot of times, a lot of people think about it, this community being given money or like, here's welcome money and open business. Believe me, a lot of people, they used to have a background in business, families, and they trying themselves. They saving it, they sharing it.
That's true.
And then like, it's just a trust. Like 3 of us would say, look, can we do every month $500? And said, yes. I'll say,
but it's not enough.
It's not enough.
It's
maybe
not
we're
enough.
going to get it, maybe with 5 people, we'll get 10,000. Maybe we'll get 5 of us or 10 of us times 5. You know, we put that money every month, somebody's getting that money pull off with no interest, but it has to be accountability. If you're not bringing that money, you know, it's like a bad kid. The community will tell you, people will tell you, this guy don't trust that, don't trust him because you ruin.
You just got to be super careful.
Yeah.
Who you bring
And so
in that circle.
if y'all can get to the next level in your community, get to the next level of actually borrowing or actually building that business credit and not having to do the Shiraka, you know, that's going to build your community too.
That's a big time. I'm just telling you, because what happened is a lot of time, you know, the Jewish community knows the business, know how. And they figured out how to make. I'm shocked. If you look at all these houses and small strip malls owned by Jews.
Oh, wait. Hold on here.
Thank you for listening to the Fiscal Finesse Flash. We hope this message finessed your finances and your life. We believe leaders are readers, and podcast listeners become great practitioners. If you need assistance implementing a strategy for finessing your finances, call us today at 318-595-0784. Until next time, finesse your life and don't live in fiscal strife.